My son drove his truck through the kitchen wall of the house I built with my own hands. The same window I framed the summer before he was born. I've spent 18 years framing houses in Spokane. I've learned that a wall never fails because of one bad stud. It fails because you keep loading weight onto a crack you already knew was there, telling yourself it'll hold one more season. My name's Marcus Delaney. I'm 54 and I run a small renovation company here. 3 trucks, 6 guys, my name on the door. My wife Jenna and I have been married 25 years, and our son Caleb just turned 24. He grew up on job sites, knew what a stud finder was before he knew his multiplication tables. 7 summers ago, we were fighting a corroded shutoff valve under a bathroom vanity, 40 minutes in, with no luck. Caleb, 17 at the time, knelt beside me with his own headlamp, held the light steady without a word, and when the valve finally broke loose, just handed me the wrench before I asked. That's the kid I want you to picture. Quiet, useful, paying attention. That kid was real. What happened later didn't erase him. It just layered over him like drywall mud over a crack. Nobody sanded first. The layering started about 8 months before the night I'm telling you about. Caleb had done a 1.5 years of community college, planning to run the estimating side of the business. Then, out of nowhere, he withdrew from the semester and started spending nights with a new group of guys. A private card room above a tattoo shop I didn't learn about until much later. Jenna noticed before I did. "He's not sleeping right," she kept saying. I kept telling her he was 24, let him figure it out. I regret that answer more than almost anything in this story. 3 months before the crash, Caleb asked me for $15,000, an investment with a friend named Trent, all guaranteed returns, no real details. I said no, not because I distrusted him with money, but because the story didn't hold up under basic questions. In construction, if the story doesn't hold, you don't sign off on the job. The truth came out because my bookkeeper, Devin, flagged something. Petty cash short $2,400 over 6 weeks, always right after Caleb had been by. I quietly asked around. One of my guys mentioned seeing Caleb's truck outside that card room most nights. Then our home phone rang one evening, a stranger, politely asking for Caleb about an outstanding balance. I hung up with my hands shaking. Jenna found me at the kitchen table at 2 a.m, doing the same math I do when a job's about to blow its budget, except this time, the numbers were his debts. Close to $18,000 between the card room and 2 men he'd borrowed from personally who weren't patient people. 2 nights before the crash, I overheard him on the phone in the driveway, laughing easy. My old man's gonna cave. He always does. He genuinely believed I was a door he just hadn't leaned on hard enough yet. Saturday night, he came through the side door already talking, already loud. He needed 18 grand by Monday or things would get really bad. I told him we'd call the police. He told me I didn't understand who these guys were. I told him I understood plenty, that he'd been lying to his mother's face for 8 months, that Devin had been covering for missing cash. I wasn't writing a check to fix a problem built on gambling debt. "You're offering nothing," he said. "You're offering me getting my legs broken so you can feel like you taught me a lesson." "I'm offering you the truth," I said, "which is more than you've given me in 8 months." For a second, I thought it landed. Then he turned, slammed out the door, and I heard the truck start. I thought he was leaving to cool off. He backed out fast, cut the wheel hard, and instead of pulling onto the street, gunned it straight across the yard into the kitchen's bay window, the one I'd framed myself the summer before he was born. I won't spend long on the sound. The bumper came through first, then the whole front end. glass and drywall dust everywhere. The truck stopped 6 feet from where Jenna and I had been standing 30 seconds earlier. I didn't run at the truck or scream. I've learned that when something's badly broken, swinging a hammer at it in anger only makes it worse. I walked over, reached in, turned off the key, told him to sit on the porch steps, and called 911. I pressed charges: reckless driving, criminal mischief. The damage ran past $40,000. Caleb spent that night in a holding cell. Some part of me wanted to bail him out before sunrise, the way I always had. Jenna, sitting with me in the truck outside the jail at 6 in the morning, said what needed saying. If we pull him out of this one too, we're just replacing the drywall and calling the wall fixed. It'll fail again in the same spot. She was right. A repair that doesn't fix the framing underneath is just an expensive way of waiting for the next collapse. The plea deal came a month later. Restitution paid over 2 years, mandatory gambling counseling, 18 months probation, a no-contact order with the men he owed. I didn't write the $18,000 check either. Jenna asked once if that made me a hard man. I told her I thought it made me a man who'd finally stopped confusing rescuing someone with helping them. What I did do was drive him to his first counseling session myself and sit in the parking lot for 50 minutes while he went in. I've driven him every Tuesday since. Showing up is different from paying up, and I decided a long time ago I could do the first without doing the second. It's been 4 months. The kitchen's mostly rebuilt. I did the framing myself, alone, on weekends, which tells you something about where things still stand between us. Caleb's staying with a friend's family for now, working at a lumber yard, going to his meetings. We talk, but carefully, the way you handle a joint that's been reglued and hasn't fully cured. Last Sunday he showed up and asked if he could help me trim out the window. I handed him the miter saw without a word, the same way he'd once handed me that wrench. We didn't talk much while we worked. When we finished, he ran his hand along the seam, checking it the way I taught him, and said only, "It's straight." Not sorry, not a speech. Just an honest read on an honest piece of work. I stood in that kitchen a long while after he drove off, thumb on the seam, not sure yet what this wall looks like 10 years from now. Some walls you don't finish with one big conversation. You finish them one true cut at a time. If Marcus's story moved you, hit like. Tell us in the comments what you would have done in his place, and subscribe to Aftermath Tales for more powerful stories like this one.